CFMOTO Man here, and today we're doing a deep dive. I know some of you guys are out there thinking that you want to buy one of these things, and when I was researching, I wanted to know everything about this machine. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, I did everything you need to know about CFMOTO CForce before you buy, and also did my 4 reasons to buy a CFMOTO. This is the nerd version, so this is going to go in real deep into the specs of this machine. And for people like me, I get a lot of enjoyment out of these types of videos. This is probably going to be my longest video, but let's get started. Here we go. Now, the first thing to start, the model of this machine is the CF600AU-3L, which is the same as the CF600AU-3LF, which is also the same as the CF600ATR-2L. The length is 2,260 millimeters, which is 200 millimeters more than the 600 without the touring. The width is 1,180 millimeters, which is the same width as the CForce 600 without the touring. The height is 1,350 millimeters, which is 130 millimeters more than the 600, but that's because of the seat. The wheelbase, which is the distance between the front and the rear axles, is 1,480 millimeters, which is 200 more millimeters than the CF600 1-up. Ground clearance without a load is 270 millimeters for both models. The dry weight for this machine is 415 kilograms. The dry weight for the CF600 is 395 kilograms. Clearly, this is the 2-passenger model. The CF600, you have just the single seat. The maximum cargo allowed is 2 people plus 60 kilograms. So that's a total of 210 kilograms. The maximum capacity for the towing hitch weight is 25 kilograms. The maximum capacity for the trailer and cargo weight are 150 kilograms and 300 kilograms respectively. The engine model is a 191S. It's a single cylinder, 4-stroke, 4 valves, water cooled. The displacement is 580 cc's, rounded up to 600. The idle is set at 1,500 rotations per minute, plus or minus 150 rotations per minute. The engine has a front and rear shaft output style. It has an electric start, Bosch fuel injectors, Bosch ECU. The engine oil filter style is a full flow cartridge filter. It takes SAE 15W40 or higher engine oil. It was super easy to change at the first service. Everything's accessible right here. The transmission oil is 75W90 GL5. The cooling system uses a closed circuit cooling radiator. The air filter is a paper cartridge filter, which everyone usually changes out for the uni foam filter. The air filter is underneath this single seat. The transmission is a CVT gear shift transmission. There's 2 forward gears, 1 reverse gear, and 1 parking. There's a neutral. The CVT is designed by CV Tech from Canada, and this is a dry CVT. The fuel type is RQ 87 octane or higher, unleaded gasoline. Now, I went back and forth with CFMOTO, emailed them, and they recommended 89 octane or higher in the United States. Remember, depending on where you're from, the numbers may be different. The minimum turning radius on this model is 3,700 millimeters. On the short model, it's 3,625. Remember, the smaller, more tighter turn you can do. The inside turning angle is 31 degrees. The outside turning angle is 23 degrees. The brakes are dual hydraulic disc brakes located on all 4 tires. There's a mechanical park gear, but there's also a hydraulic park gear. Squeezing the brake and pressing that lever down while you're squeezing and pushing the foot brake at the same time. The front suspension is a dual swing arm, independent of each other. Gives 160 millimeters of travel. The rear suspension is a dual swing arm independent and gives 210 millimeters of travel. Both the front and the rear are oil spring preloaded adjustable shocks. Does come with a tool under the seat where you can adjust how soft or how stiff you want that suspension. The stock front tire is 25 by 8-12. Comes with a wheel bolt pattern M10 by 1.25-6G. The wheel nut pattern is M10-1.25-7H. The engine oil capacity is 3,000 milliliters for the crankcase. It's 2,900 milliliters when you replace the oil in the oil filter. Now, depending on the environmental temperature that you're running your engine at, you want to make sure you pick right viscosity oil. You can go 15W40, 10W40, or 5W40. 2,900 milliliters of oil for when you're replacing the oil in the oil filter. The total capacity of engine oil is 3,000 milliliters. Now, I've seen when people replace the oil, they usually just dump 3 liters in, and that's just fine. The front gear case oil's capacity is 230 milliliters with SAE 80W-90 GL5. The rear gear case oil is 200 milliliter total capacity with the same SAE 80W-90 GL5. For the coolant type, you want to use anything commercially available with a negative 35 degrees Celsius anti-freezing, anti-corrosive, and a high boiling point properties. The manufacturer recommends 50% coolant and 50% distilled water mix ratio. The coolant capacity is 2.5 liters approximately for the entire system and 380 milliliters for the reservoir. The recommended brake fluid type is DOT4. Under the hood, you have easy access to your fuses. Now, I'm not going to lift up the seat to show the battery, but the battery fully charged is 14.4 volts. It's a 12 volt capacity, 30 ohms. And when it's discharged, it's less than 11.8 volts. Now for the CVT, the drive belt standard millimeter width is 35.9. The limit when the manufacturer recommends replacement is 33.5. Now in your owner's manual, it mentions about lubricating certain moving parts and cables and bearings, but it doesn't mention specifically where. So those parts are as follows: the steering shaft sleeve, the rear axle seat, the shock absorber knuckle bearing, throttle lever and cable joint, brake hand lever, brake cable junction, and the rear brake pedal. It's recommended to lubricate these areas with SY 1514-82 grease. Now the headlights, low beam is an LED, high beam is an LED. The brow lights are LED as well. They're not very bright, but they look cool. In some countries, they got turn signal lights, which I guess would be here. On the rear as well, in some countries, they got turn signal lights, but on the back of ours in the US, got just regular brake light going all the way across, and then reverse lights. All are LED. So that's it for the detailed specs. And now I wanted to announce that I'm going to be doing a giveaway. This is my first giveaway. But I think what I want to do is we're going to give away some rear view mirrors. I kind of like these mirrors, and I feel like someone else would too. Now, I'm not giving away mine, but anybody who likes, subscribes, and leave a comment below with why they love CFMOTO, I'm going to send them some of these rear view mirrors, a pair of these. Have to be in the US. I'm not going to ship to Antarctica. Sorry, guys. The winner will be announced during my next video, so stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.